China has launched the next phase on their war on internet porn. They recently put out a report with a threat to potentially close down the 3 largest live stream providing services inside of China. Now, important note, these services are not exclusively or even necessarily or largely about porn. But we're gonna get into what the threat to porn is. But these companies, this report, the threat to them is important for them. Sina Weibo, iFang, and Akfun all saw their stock prices fall after that report. Weibo saw its stock fall 6 percentage points, which is worth $1 billion. Normally you need some sort of Donald Trump tweet to take that much off of a company's stocks. And so look, these are services that are important. A lot of people use them, we'll get into the stats. And it could be that theoretically, this is China, like there are political ramifications to any sort of social media or mass communication, but some don't think that that's what this is about. Andy Tian, the Asia Innovations Group CEO, said it's all about the porn. That's the main thing, the porn. The government has let it go for a while, but now it's getting out of hand. Understand, all internet porn is technically illegal in China, and they've even gone into banning things that don't seem like they'd necessarily be porn. Like last year, they banned live streaming of erotic banana eating. Now, if you don't know what that looks like, here you go.
Oh my God, okay, first of all.
Who's making those noises?
That's
They're just like someone in the corner, or does she re-record that? I love it.
Yeah, I like that it's got a voice track on it, right? Okay, I bought the soundtrack to that video.
Yeah.
So
it's illegal now. Don't try to bring it into China.
Number 1, that's awesome. Number 2, let's be honest.
Wait, which part? I'm sorry. Which part is awesome?
The
smoothie, the banana,
the erotic banana eating is. I love that we invented that as a form of exciting guys.
Yeah.
And by the way, 80% of the people doing the videos are women. 75% of the people of all live streams, 75% of the people watching are men.
It's interesting how that works out.
Yeah, it is funny. And so I love that. I think that was one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. Number 2, China, you've got to allow porn. Otherwise, the only option people have is this kind of insane softcore porn.
Yeah.
Like if you ban actual porn, people are like, oh wow, look at her eat that banana. Like, let him have real porn.
Otherwise, we're gonna have to watch that for a while, like the smoothie making. I want to clarify though, like I did a story in Japan similar to this. Like I think it's not even really about the sexual nature of this. It's a lot of this is just about hanging out.
Yeah.
And hanging out with this pretty lady who's gonna,
Make a smoothie.
Make a smoothie and dance around and like talk to me for a little bit. I mean, which I'm gonna play devil's advocate and say maybe people get offline if they can't watch it anymore. Like, cool, go out in the real world and talk to people.
I think that
we tried that for centuries. It didn't really work
right.
out.
No. People just want to go inside. As you point out, eating food is another big thing, not just in China, but in a lot of countries. It's a surprise that it hasn't become bigger in America, considering how much we like to eat.
Because we have real porn. Anyway, yes.
Yeah, but again, I agree with Francesca. I don't think that it's like the guys who watch the cam girls, like they give a bunch of money, and theoretically some of these girls make up to $1 million, which is a lot in America or China. They give a lot of money, these girls, like $1,000 for one session or whatever. And the girl's making so much money. If the guy just wanted porn, he could easily go to a different website in America where it is legal. It would be in higher definition and he could see whatever he wants. I agree with Francesca. I think that it's about the connection. I think there are a lot of people always, before computers, who didn't feel connected to people, who felt too awkward or they weren't being fulfilled or whatever. And I think for a lot of people, this fills that need, and I don't think that's a small thing. I think that feeling comfortable inside of your life, satisfied and connected to people, fighting that loneliness, that is perhaps one of the biggest things that we can help people to accomplish.
Like we're losing track. We're losing track that this is the oldest thing in the world. This is called a peep show. Remember in New York, they'd go and they'd put 25 cents in and the thing would go up and you would watch the girl and the girl would make eye contact with you, which is horrifically awkward if you ask me. Same thing as strip clubs where they look at you and you're like, oh, please stop looking. Okay, this is getting weird. Anyway, but people, yes, they like it, but it's both, it's sex and it's the interaction. That's why people flock to it. But by the way, to John's earlier point, the real reason China's doing this, yes, they're against porn, yes, they're against political dissent, and it looks like they singled out these 3 giant companies. No, the real thing is they single out the big companies and then they get rid of all the small companies and they tell the big companies, you better play ball and do whatever the government tells you to do and be safe. And that's how they regulate the internet. TYT membership gets you commercial-free Young Turks. Download it, stream it, podcast it, get all the network shows, and support independent media. TYTnetwork.com/join.